It's Sandy and Audra. We're here today, and guess what our question is for you? Who is the boogeyman in your life? We're going to help you identify one of the boogeyman, but the weightiest one in your mind, because that's what you're dragging around.
Yes.
So we want to help you find that mindset. Who is your boogeyman? You can start thinking about that as we move on and help you through not only your day, but your day-by-day practice, because when you find out that each mindset is a boogeyman, they have an order to them. It's really funny. Like, who is the person that you have to please the most? That's one thing.
Yep.
Who is the person you want to please the most? That's another one. Who is the person that you think all the people around you want you to please? So see what we mean? But we can't cover all that, and we don't want to. We want to start with one thing in your heart. What's the boogeyman in your heart that weighs the most on your mind? So let's talk about that today.
Yeah, and that's a good topic to bring up, like especially around the holidays. A lot of people struggle with the family and showing up and being seen, being heard, just really being themselves. And this year you can pluck out the boogeyman and be like, you know what? I'm just going to be me this year. You know, I don't know what that looks like. I do know what that looks like because I'm coming from my heart, but it might feel a little bit different.
But the boogeyman in that story is the family.
I thought it's your thoughts about the family.
That's what I mean. You're thinking so much how to please them. Will I dress right? Will I have the kids right?
Yes.
So the boogeyman would be the dad, the family. So what we're saying is...
We can start with the dad.
Yeah, well, we can start with any one of them.
Right.
But what we want to start with is a topic so we can skinny it down to a bottom level.
Okay.
So
how do we do that with using the holiday so everyone can, like when the holiday comes and everyone's there.
Okay, everyone's there. We can use let's use the holiday versus my thoughts on a career if I have one, or if I'm a homemaker.
Yes.
Then we have 3 areas right here that can be very specific, because you might say, we've got the family covered. We don't, we don't care what happens. We go have a good time and leave.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about my career, I cringe. Or you talk about me as a homemaker, I cringe because am I doing it right? Am I dedicating the right time for the right thing? The career, do I please my boss or do I please me? Do I like the process? So that's what we're trying to get to. So which one do you think we can cover for them today? Like the 3 parts.
Well, I think just the holidays are big because everyone is always talking about how they go and they have a good time, but then Aunt so-and-so has something to say and it throws their whole day off.
Okay, so what would be the weight behind it?
Your own thought process of you're not feeling good enough. Or you're not worthy enough, or you think you got it wrong. Something deep within those are the main topics. You already weren't feeling good enough, or you didn't do something right, or whatever it is. Like,
okay,
it triggers that wound, basically.
Okay, so if all that's wrapped together, what you said, where do we start? You just said like 10 things.
I don't know. Where do we start? I don't know where we start on that one.
Well, we can't take it as a family. So the first thing we have to know is about ourselves is why am I looking at my family this way to begin with?
Oh, your perception. Okay,
that's what I'm talking about.
So you're with the judgment. You're with judging yourself. You're with judging the family. Your perception of the family, which that's what we can change.
Yes, and that is an unconscious.
Got it.
Right now in your mindset that you get in this. Let's see, today's what? Tuesday.
Yep.
And by Friday, okay, get the clothes ordered, get the ironing done, everything has to be perfect.
The kids have to look right. The husband has to look right.
And we want to know today, where are you in that? And I have to tell you, nowhere. Because that's the truth. Because you're people pleasing. And somewhere you were taught that, we all were. But when we start to look at it and say, well, do the kids really need to be perfect? No, I'm not saying I don't love my mom and dad and family. I'm just saying it's not necessary. And then when it comes
the pressure of that,
the perception of
Yeah.
what that means to you to please them is where the weight is. Because if you start to look at it, like we just said, do the kids have to be perfectly dressed?
yeah,
Do they have to be do I have to walk in with, if I'm invited to bring something, I'll bring it. But if I don't have a quote specific thing, I'll bring something. And stop individualizing every single to the spec. And that's because you don't feel accepted. But you can't blame it on mom and dad. You don't feel accepted because you don't know how to please them. The trick is to please you. And that is the truth of what life is all about.
yeah,
When you start pleasing you, you say, well, that's really important and I really love them, but I didn't know I was holding it over what I wanted.
right. Not putting yourself first,
Not
because
putting
of it.
myself first and saying
And then planning your whole day and your whole
3
holiday
days and
about,
week ahead. Right?
Yeah, about how do I show up? What do I wear? How do I do this? Oh, this isn't like the right outfit. They're going to judge this. Or,
Right. How about just going as a normal day?
That would be interesting, right?
Well, that would
you
be
re-
where the
That would be
answer is.
truth, and that is the answer. But I think that people will struggle with that because of they don't want to be judged.
Okay, but the first thing is they're judging themselves.
Correct.
And
Yes,
that's
we
where
know
this
that.
weight is. You have no idea where it's coming from other than it's something that you have built on for years.
Yes.
So when it's like looking at the top of the mountain and going, how do I get up there?
Yeah.
It really looks like a cool rock climb, but how do I do it? One step at a time. And I just come prepared to be exhausted and to stop and to rest on a few different rocks on the way up.
Yeah.
But we take it apart because we see that mentally we put all this chaos in front of us because we've been taught to. And it needs to all be picked, separated.
Yep.
Separated. If you walked in as yourself with your children for the holiday and you felt good about you,
Nothing
I can
would matter.
almost guarantee that everyone would be delighted to see you and that the judgment was always about what you thought you should be and now you're quitting yourself.
Right.
This is what I can do.
Right.
And I think that choice becomes a wonderful miracle.
It does. When you stop any shoulding, it's always good, right?
Yeah.
There's always a miracle when you drop the should.
Yeah.
So it's like, what would you do this holiday to not should?
Make it any day.
Yeah.
Any other
True.
day.
Any day. But since we're here, I was like,
Yeah,
that's
but
a
I
good
mean,
example of
a
kind
good
of showing
example
up.
would be what? You got up for Sunday morning and you got dressed and you were planning a neat little activity for your family or yourself or whoever is involved, and you'd be like, oh, this will be good.
Good enough.
It would be light
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah,
planning
that's
the
what brings
trip.
the heaviness is the shoulding.
Yeah.
When you bring that forward to the holiday, to the day, to the weekend, to the
But
church.
do you see
to
that
the...
we're telling that story by judgment?
Yes.
That story could probably take up 3 or 4 pages in a journal.
Yes.
And you need that like a hole in your head.
Right. And we don't really, I don't think we are conscious enough sometimes to notice that that's even how simple, it's really simple.
It is.
In the sense that, if I just stop judging myself, I clear the pathway to stop judging every family member.
Yeah.
Right? Or anyone. We're just
Anyone,
saying.
period.
And
But it starts with the stop judging you.
yes.
Because then the
That's
list
the
that you
ticket.
have for you
That's the solution.
gets this big.
Right? And then using that as your solution will solve the problem.
Yeah.
Immediately, really, because once you throw the baseball bat out the window, it's not there anymore.
Well, I would say once you hit that topic, it's a home run
Okay.
in the judgment. With the judgment, you know what I mean? If you can get that skinny down to, wait a minute, this isn't about mom and dad. They've never said anything or they've said it, but still, I'm an
Aunts
adult
and
now.
uncles or whatever, right?
I don't need to hold on to the judgment, even if it's a comment. So we start.
Yeah, because
thinking-
that's really about them. That's never about you. So
My point.
You see how that separates and clears everyone.
Yep.
When you're judging you,
You judge them.
Right.
When you're feeling guilty,
You're judging them, so it has to connect.
yes.
When you decide you're not judging and you let them do their thing, then they have to realize their own stuff. So everyone becomes responsible for their own self.
Yeah, and everybody's a winner.
Yep.
That's why if we can just skinny everything down to us, we can hit that home run because we can focus finally.
Yes.
But you cannot focus on that all those judgments
Right.
and have any kind of a happy holiday or any
Right.
day.
Because they keep you running in circles. It keeps yourself running in circles. So how could you possibly be present with all of that going on in your mind? You cannot.
Sure, because I could say, okay, you don't quite understand the judgment thing. Audra's going to put on a backpack for me. And I'm going to go, what should the kids wear? One rock. What am I going to wear? Another rock. What do I have to bring? Another rock. And pretty soon, you can't even think straight.
Right.
Because the backpack is running the show.
Right.
So that helps in the judgment. Anything heavy in your energy field, we talk about that a lot, and it's hard to explain sometimes and hard to understand. But every rock has its own energy. So, but that's heavy energy. So when that rock has 15 items in it, you probably won't even want to get out of bed for Easter.
Right. True that.
But when we realize that it's man-made,
Yes.
man mindset,
Self, yes.
learned with socializing,
Yes.
we can start giving it away without the judgment for anybody or me.
Right. Right.
So,
And that will have you flowing in the river of happy.
yeah, absolutely.
Because you're free. You're not weighted down. You're going to sink with all those rocks
Yeah.
on your back. But
Right.
if you let them all go and drop, they're going to just land where they land, and you're free to float down the river.
That's right. That's why I said, who's the boogeyman? The boogeyman is the judgment
Yep.
around you, but you're creating it. And it's an innocent thing to do because it causes a chaos that gives you the energy, but it's not the kind you're looking for.
Right. Yep.
So I just think that's just a miracle. What we can say, gee, who's the boogeyman today? What is this about when I feel heavy?
Yeah. Definitely.
Because there's one thing that's driving that chaos.
Yeah. And
Usually.
usually when you clear that one thing, it clears the rest of them.
Yep.
Because that was the start, and you own it, you look at it, and you say, no more.
Yeah, right, exactly. You get to one and the others are lighter. It's that big, heavy one we're talking about.
Yes. And that's what we do, like with the life coaching, with the, the Akashic records, with the crystals and everything. It's the energy. It's the focus on the sessions and doing it differently, seeing things differently, bringing up your awareness. And just like we're saying today, it's the awareness. Oh,
Right.
shoot, I was judging myself again. Half the time, we don't even know we're judging ourselves.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh my goodness. But if
No.
you stop, get in your body, you'll know, oh my goodness, I started that again. And time for the boogeyman to go in the river with the backpack of rocks.
Right, exactly. So the focus session helps you define what that one thing is, because what we do with the spiritual gifts that we have is we're able to help get rid of what would you call it? The stuff that's not important that we're hearing.
Right.
Because
The topic of you're pissed off at somebody has nothing to do with that you're judging. That's the outside, right? When you use that
Peel
to be
back.
right. It's not about that person. It's really that you started with you judging you. Because when you look at that clears about that person. So that's what those sessions do.
Yes,
is
exactly.
bring you back into focus to you and the truth.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to have a quick focus session, give us a DM, let us know, and we can fill you in, and you will be amazingly surprised, but amazingly identify the change in your mindset.
Yep.
That's the part that's the best.
Yes. Yep. So everyone, enjoy your day and let us leave a comment on how, oh my God, that so worked. I stopped judging me, and so that cleared the pathway for everyone.
For a happy Easter. Yay!
That's right. Enjoy.
Yes.